Good morning, runners, and welcome to the 9 a.m. course strategy of the TCS New York City Marathon, the 50th running. We are less than 24 hours away from the start time. That first wave will be going off at about 9:10, 9:05 tomorrow morning. Elites will be off at this point. Yeah, the elite men are off at 9:05, but thank you so much for coming out this morning, checking in with us as we get your give you some final tips as you get ready to kind of relax the day away. We'll go through the course mile by mile with you this morning. We also want to know where you're listening from. Maybe you've already made it all the way here into New York City. You're listening from your hotel room, hopefully. Maybe already gone to the expo or going to the expo a bit later. We'll give you some tips on some New Balance gear in a little while at the expo. But leave your shout outs, leave your questions in the comments. I want to help you out, calm those nerves, answer any questions you may have before you get out there on the road tomorrow. But I'm joined this morning by Coach Roberto, as well as Tessa, one of the tracksters from New Balance. She has some great gear that is available at the expo for you to go through. I think we're going to start off kind of going with that. Tessa, how you doing today? I know you're running on Sunday. You're running tomorrow. How you feeling? You feeling the nerves?
I'm so excited. I'm really excited, honestly. Everybody has brought such great energy to the expo thus far, so just have fun. That's the goal.
Just have fun. And if you will give a few more tips about that, about not going out too fast, getting yourself prepared for that day. But I know you brought some gear to show off. I know the runners are going to be going over to the expo if they already have not. I'm sure a lot of people, I saw lots of New Balance bags these last 2 days. We talked about the ruby slippers that are, you said, are unfortunately gone. Yeah. The card plates, they are gone. But you did bring some other gear that are still left. So what have you brought along to kind of show our runners today as they make their way through?
Yes, our carbon-plated RC Elites are pretty much sold out at this point at the expo. We brought Select Edition, which is amazing. Might be able to still scoop them up online. But I did bring our Fuel Cell Prism. This is the women's colorway. So this is another really fast shoe that we have at the expo, and it is decked out in the 50th anniversary logos and everything. It does scream New York, but it's another snappy shoe. And we also have the one that's on your foot as well, the 1080. The 1080, and that's a really cool gold and black edition. And again, just screams New York City. It's super prideful, especially for this 50th anniversary year. It's awesome that we have this gear. So footwear we have you covered, but we also have lovely apparel, tons of apparel still. The guys are decked out in it. We have this gorgeous 50th anniversary logo on almost everything in the shop, if not some other variation. I'm wearing the PMV vest, which is one of our highest heat energy return, fanciest thing you can buy out there pretty much. But also we have a jacket. If you're looking for a really good layer, if you got somebody watching you or spectating and they're worried about being cold because they forgot something, this is going to give you all the heat loft return possible. We even have leggings to match it up with because gold and black is the theme this year for sure. It screams anniversary. And we also have a lot of finisher jackets, which is really cool. And they also come in different colors. So men and women have variations of colors, but gold and black is probably your classic. And as you can see on the back, the beautiful logo. And again, just amazing. Celebrate 50 years. It's going to be phenomenal. We have so much gear at the expo, so please stop on in and take a look at everything.
Definitely. And where can they find the, I know it's pretty easy to find, but as you go through.
It's pretty easy. Yeah, so if we have the expo map to be pulled up. The expo itself is laid out in a nice like clockwise rotation to get everybody through efficiently. When you walk into the expo at first, there's bib pickup on your left. So go stop with your number and your ID and the pass that was in your email. And then make your way up to t-shirts, grab your t-shirt. It's all very clearly labeled for what size you can pick. And then you enter the official expo space with New Balance. And right when you walk in, footwear is right there. So if you're looking for that extra race day shoe or, well, nothing new on race day, but that shoe to carry you through your miles after the race, we have that footwear. And then we also have apparel. Men's apparel is toward the top of the expo space, and women's apparel is the bottom half of the expo space. And then when you get closer to checkout, that is where all the accessories are. So if you're looking for gloves or hats or anything else, that's going to be closer to checkout, which is headed to the bottom of the expo space. And then that leads you out into the other vendor area. So it's a nice clockwise rotation, and then you're out back into the world.
Out back in the world for sure. I know, Roberto, you are also running on Sunday. Have you picked up your finisher's gear to celebrate your achievement?
Have I picked up my finisher's gear?
Come on, you have to finish your gear.
I am at the point right now where after this, I have to go out and buy like old sweats and things that I'm going to wear to toss because, all this gear that I'm wearing, that Tess is wearing, that Ben's wearing, it's really awesome, but there's no way I'm parting with this. So, I have my kit set out, as you all should. We say nothing new on race day, so by now you should know what shoes you're wearing. But, as Tessa said, there's a lot of cool New Balance gear that I may be picking up afterwards, but I try to just focus right now on race day, which I'm really excited about because we're going to have great weather, But like I said, I need to pick up some really janky sweats, like the complete opposite of everything we're wearing. Just something goes down to Modell's and pick out like a double XL pair of sweatpants that I could put over my shoes and then never see again, and donate to our friends at Goodwill.
Definitely, but definitely, runners, you want to get that finisher's gear. If you are going to the TCS New York City Marathon Expo presented by New Balance, pick up that gear. We'll have finisher's gear and other gear as well at the New Balance Run Hub at the Run Center on 320 West 57th Street, and then again on Monday at the Pavilion by the finish line. If you're getting your medal engraved, the finisher's gear will be there as well. So please make sure you get out, get that gear. You've earned it. You want to make good. You want to look good after it. You had the medal, had that cool jacket, that black jacket with the logo on the back. That is an awesome one. I've seen a lot of those at the expo, and especially the one with the heat, the first one you showed. A lot of runners out there with that one. It is a bit brisk out here, especially if you're coming from warmer climates here in the U.S. or other areas of the world. It is a bit chilly this morning, but as we get ready to go out, we're going to kind of go through mile by mile here. Roberto already kind of alluded to one of the three mantras we have that we want to give to you as you get ready to start your day tomorrow. Roberto had touched on it, so go ahead, Roberto, talk about nothing new on race day.
Yeah, so nothing new on race day is something we continuously hammer out, and that essentially means, swing by the expo, by the pavilion, the Run Hub presented by New Balance over here. Pick up whatever you want, but save it for afterwards. So you train for weeks, months, some people even years for this wonderful race. So in that training, you've done long runs, workouts, etc. So you should know which shoes work for you, which socks work for you, gear, top, bottoms, and then even if you're going to layer up, you should know what you're going to wear, and that just means stick to that. It may be boring, but you want to keep it mundane until the race. And then that also means nutrition, hydration. So you're coming into New York maybe from different areas. You should know what you're going to eat the night before, you're going to have for breakfast the morning of, and even what you're going to carry with you on the course. Same with drinks. So now is definitely not the time to experiment. I assume you're running tomorrow. You know what you're going to eat, wear, everything?
Yeah, I have everything planned out.
Okay, so nothing new?
No, nothing new.
I can't interest you in some, I don't know, Dwayne Reed's sushi or something?
I mean, when we're in New York, but no, we can save that for after the race.
We'll
do the whole parade of food.
Yeah.
Exactly, it's very important. Nothing new on race day. Also, make sure you have everything planned out. You don't want to be racing before the race. It is a very long day to get out to for Wadsworth. You want to make sure you have everything planned out ahead of time, including where you're going to meet your loved ones after the race, because you don't want to be running around trying to figure things out. Have your bib pinned to your clothes, have your stuff laid out. Make sure you know where your transportation will be, because you don't want to have to race around, figure out where you're going, you call this or call that. You don't want to be running around wasting the energy that you've worked so hard to get ready for the race on Sunday. So no running around. Try to avoid, as we call, the race before the race. Know where your transportation is, the bus, the ferry, what time you need to be there. You have plenty of time once you get on Fort Wadsworth to get through that. So get all that dialed in, because again, it's going to be a long day. You want to save your energy. Make sure you keep that fuel source nice and topped off. So if we have, don't race before the race. Avoid anything new on race day. And what's the last thing, Roberto, that runners should really key in on?
Yeah, the last thing pertains to really executing a good race strategy, which is don't go out too fast. So for those of you who are running the TCS New City Marathon for the first time, you trained really well, I'm assuming, and I'm hoping. But you most likely have trained alone or in a small group. But when you line up, with 30,000+ other people around you, in front of you, behind you, there's a lot of nerves, which is okay, but also a lot of adrenaline. A lot of people just bolt off the line because they just, tensed up. But the thing is, the first mile of the Verrazano Bridge is straight uphill. It's actually our highest climb of the course. So you're probably not going to feel it no matter how fast you go out, because it's the first mile. There's adrenaline, there's people around you, but you will feel it later on if you've gone out too fast. So I like to say you can't win the race in the first mile, but you can certainly lose it in that first mile. So marshal your efforts, run on effort, don't go out too fast. And I'm also giving that advice to Tessa, because you're a first-time marathoner, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're here for the course strategy, and we're going to be speaking to you out there, but also to Tessa. So don't go out too fast. We'll be checking.
Definitely very important. Those are 3 great tips. Also this year, runner, new for 2021, or because of 2020 more than likely, we have some safety things that we really need to make sure that you're clear on to keep everybody safe out there as you get to the start village or even to the expo itself. Very important to remember that face coverings will be required at the expo at all times. If you're going to pick up your race bib, that includes runners that will be having to show a negative COVID test. You'll have to have face coverings as you pick up. When you're getting on the bus or the ferry as well, you'll have to have a face covering, and obviously in the start village as well. So keep very in mind here the face coverings as up here that I've circled here. We want to keep all that information. We've also limited the touch points that will be out there at certain points on the race, including the expo. We've had a lot of people asking about the name wall. Unfortunately, there's not a name wall this year, trying to reduce the density a bit, the touch points. So sorry, runners, there is no name wall to find your name, point to it, get that cool picture for social media. But again, everything is safe. We want to keep you all clear out there. Remember, the face coverings are right there. I'll kind of circle up here where the face coverings will be required. Roberto, kind of go through where those will be required outside of areas I touched on.
Yeah, face coverings are going to be required everywhere. You can see Expo, Pavilion, Run Center, basically everywhere. The only place it's not going to be required is on the course, and what that means is you will actually have it with you going through your corrals, checkpoints, etc. But when you get to the start line, as soon as you start the race, you can remove it and run the rest of the race without it. We do implore you, try not to toss it right away on the Verrazano Bridge, because even if you literally see it hit the ground, chances are the wind could pick it up, dump it into the East River, or a runner could kick it through. So we're trying to, not pollute the river, but also if you want to throw it on the ground, you could do that once you get into Brooklyn on around mile 3 for most of us, and then obviously we'll have street sweepers clean up, but you could also hold on to it and put it on as you cross the finish line. But if you do discard it for whatever reason, or you lose it during the race, fear not, because at the end of the race, which we will get to eventually, of course, you will have another fresh face mask with the hospital for special surgery bag, the post-race recovery bag that you'll be getting in there. You'll have a whole assortment of things that we'll touch upon later, but you will have a mask there, and then cross that finish line, and you can put it back on.
Definitely, great points. And as Roberto alluded to a bit earlier, everything we have there, the start line will be at the Verrazano and Harris Bridge. You touched on that tallest point. A circle right there for you. That is the bridge right there. That is your first mile. That's the part that you're getting ready for. So we're going to go give you an awesome aerial view of that first mile of the race. Love the video here. Everyone's going to be on there. This is the view that you will have. The orange and blue waves are up top. The green wave is down below. You will get beautiful views of Manhattan to your left as you cross over. There'll be plenty of space out there, so don't worry. Don't be bobbing and weaving around anybody. I know one of Roberto's great points that he likes to do. He likes to move over to the right side of the bridge as he goes over, let the runners pass on his left. That way you're not having to worry about people going around both sides, and you're kind of finding your pace, finding your groove as you go across the bridge. But again, you want to settle in. Do not want to go out too fast. So kind of settle in. This is the start line here. This is the excitement that you'll be feeling as you're sitting there in the start area waiting for the cannon to go off, Frank Sinatra to get you across the bridge. And I know that Tess will be running it, Roberto's running it, I have run this. That cannon goes off. What is that feeling like, Roberto, when that cannon goes off and you're ready to start your 26.2 mile journey?
I'll say it's jolting. One of the first years I ran it, I knew about it because I was doing course strategy, but I was near the start but not paying too much attention to the exact, and it went off and you're like, whoa. And I feel like that is almost a literal manifestation of adrenaline. Like even if you're calm, talking to somebody, you're like, okay, here we go. So it's really awesome. It definitely wakes you up. Yeah, that person was ready for it. Yeah, I think he definitely spotted the camera. But yeah, I mean, there's no better way, I think, to start a race than with a cannon like that. It's on the bridge, so it really echoes, and the crowd starts to cheer, and then little by little, a literal and metaphorical human wave just starts to inch towards that start line. Yeah, I feel like if I get too hyped talking about it now, I might Tessa might just jump off the chair and start running. But yeah, no, it's awesome. And tomorrow, weather-wise, we're expecting a day similar to these photos where it's going to be really clear skies. So you have wonderful views of Manhattan to your left as you're running. But again, take in the views, but try to avoid bobbing and weaving, because a lot of people spend so much energy there. And any energy you spend there, you're never going to get it back. But you just feel so good in this early stages on the bridge that you just feel impervious to poor pacing, swerving around. So like you mentioned, I always like to pick a line, and the people I'm pacing, I say, either you tuck in front of me or behind me, and we're just going to stay on this line, and people could go around us if they're going, if they want to go faster. But that same effort that you run up the hill, on the backside will take you, and you run close to a minute faster. So that just shows you how steep the Verrazano Bridge is, which is deceptive, of course, because you're starting.
It's your first mile. It's the easiest mile, right? You're feeling like $1 million. You have all the energy in the world to kind of go up.
Too bad there's 25 after that, but yeah.
Exactly. And if runners out there, we do have the NYRR pace team. We'll be out there. I have a pace sign that fell on the floor here, and I can't grab, unfortunately, to show you what to get that for you, the pace sign. Get that for the runners out there. There we go. It makes teamwork, makes the dream work, or dream work, the teamwork, whatever. We're still asleep. But here is the pace signs that our pace team will have. The one side will be their finish time, the other side will be their average pace per mile, but understand our pacers run by effort. So as we talked about before, when you're going up a bridge, your pace may come back a little bit. As you go back down the other side, the pace may pick up. They're going to keep the effort level consistent. That way you're not wasting the energy that you have. They're out there. The pace team has been dispersed amongst the hundreds of corrals that are out there. So if you see them, they'll be in a blue and white stripe. It'll be very similar to this, a blue and white striped singlet. They'll have the pace signs out there as well. Talk to them, get some information. They are fantastic. I've used them myself in races past. They are the best in the business. They will get you across your 26.2 mile journey. As I like to say, they are your tour guides to get you across. And after you cross the Verrazano and Harrah's Bridge, we enter into our second borough, Roberto. We've entered to Brooklyn. And what should the runners expect here as they get into miles, these next few miles?
These next few miles, this is where the marathon, I don't want to say truly starts, because I definitely don't want to, take away from the bridge, but this is where you start to really encounter spectators. There obviously aren't any spectators on the bridge, or really many of the bridges, but here you get into 4th Avenue in Brooklyn, and the race truly commences. And it commences for 2 reasons. Like I said, spectators are there, so they start to really carry you. They're excited. They've been waiting along with everybody else, waiting for you to arrive. But there's also the race kind of levels out. So for the next several miles in Brooklyn is when you can start to really sell into the pace that you have, your goal pace, if there is an actual goal time that you're reaching. If you have the pacers with you and you're following them, they're going to lock in. So that first mile, they're going to run up the Verrazano Bridge on effort. The second mile, same effort, but they'll go quicker just because it's downhill. But then once you get into 4th Avenue in Brooklyn, as you can see, there is relatively flat. There's a few little bumps here and there, but again, it's relatively flat, wide avenues. So you could really say, okay, my goal is 4 hours. That's about 9:09 per mile. I'm going to start to lock into that. But at the same time, those crowds are going to carry you, but you really want to make sure that you hold back. So even if 9:09 feels good, be disciplined, because the discipline that you show in these early miles is going to pay dividend later on. And year in, year out, when I'm running with people, they say, I feel so good, I feel so easy. And it's like, yeah, marathon pace should feel easy. It should feel good and even boring in the early miles, but marathon pace is easy because it's marathon pace, but it gets harder because you're covering that over 26.2 miles. So yeah, tell us a little bit about the aid stations and what we could expect.
Yeah, again, going back to the safety point that we had, typically in years past, you would have water and Gatorade at every mile, but this year when you're on 4th Avenue, we have a little bit, again, to reduce some of the capacity, try to spread the runners out, and the touch points at miles 5, 7, and 9. Try to do the best circle I can here, so 5, 7, and 9. As you notice, there are no water stations at that, so please plan accordingly, runners, when you're out there, making sure you keep that hydration topped off. So as you come through and you hit the different areas you're coming through, let me get those hydration markers back up here. So you've got ones at 4, 8, or 4, 6, and 8. Maybe grab an extra cup of water, an extra thing of Gatorade if you need it. Again, the weather, as Roberto had alluded to, looks really good tomorrow morning. A little bit brisk in the morning, so you have extra layers on or two. Maybe you'd be throwing them off as you head through 4th Avenue. But again, as you go through, there will be hydration on both sides of the course. We'll have some images in a little while that kind of show that. And the pace team, they will also, again, they're a tour guide. They will be pointing that out. They'll be saying, water on the left, water on the right. Gatorade will be first, water will be second at the tables as you roll through. So don't worry about having to go to the very first one, go to the second table, third table, fourth, whatever you may need to get to get the hydration that you need when you're out there. Each water station is about a block long, so there's plenty of space out there. Don't worry about crowding through. But again, do plan at miles 5, 7, and 9, there will not be water or Gatorade. So as you make your way through Brooklyn, just be prepared for that. But then again, as we come into mile 8, Roberto, what happens at mile 8 for these runners to look forward to?
Mile 8, 3 courses become 1. So, when you've gotten your bib, as I'm sure, hopefully Tessa has gotten her bib already. I'm going to keep poking at her. But yeah, when you get your bib, you'll see it'll have wave 1, 2, 3, etc., and it'll have a color. So a corresponding color will show you where you start on the course. Everybody starts on the bridge, and everybody finishes in Central Park. Everybody covers 26.2 miles, but some are on the lower part of the upper part of the bridge, and some are on the lower. If you have green, you're on the lower part of the bridge, so that means that you exit differently off the bridge, the off-ramp that cars would typically use, so you enter 4th Avenue at a different spot. But at mile 8, 3 courses become 1 around the Brooklyn Academy of Art Music area, referred to as BAM as well, and at that point, everybody's running the exact same route. So that's also important for your friends and family out there. If they're spectating along maybe Brooklyn, 4th Avenue, they want to get to see you, they need to know which side of the road they're going to be on. But again, at mile 8, 3 courses become 1, and as you can see there, in green, those are aid stations. They're on both sides, and they run close to a city block, so that also gives the opportunity to get hydration, Gatorade first, water second, and that means that you don't have to go to the very first stop when you first arrive. You could continue to run. That's something I always do. But yeah, this is the exciting part because, again, everybody comes together, and I say this time and time again, but year in and year out, even though I'm aware of it, it catches me off guard because I'm running, and suddenly I start to see from another avenue, as the road bends to that 8 Mile Point-ish area, everybody coming together as one. But the good thing is, at that point, in past years with 50+ thousand runners, the race is kind of thinned out a little bit, so it's not like suddenly there's a big bottleneck. And then this year with about 20,000 less runners, I assume it'll be exactly the same. So again, at this point, you should still feel really good. And it's really not about how good you feel at mile 6 or mile 8, and even mile 13 coming up is really trying to see how good you feel now for later. You're always having to think ahead, because if you feel good now and you think I can make up some time, bank equals bonk.
Yeah.
So definitely hold back. I'm hoping you're hold back. Do you have a race strategy in mind that you want to share with the or am I putting you on the spot? Yeah.
No, being patient, of course, and then keeping positive thoughts and be good, and hopefully hanging out with a pacer. Yeah, pace group. I'm hoping to take some guidance from the team. So.
What pace group are you looking to run? You can share with us.
Share with the world, share with my goals. 3:30 will be the calm start, and then we'll see later on in the race how I'm feeling, if we want to start to move it up a bit.
That's a good way to go, yeah. So be something like Tessa, where you don't have to try to run 3:30, but she's trying to run 3:30, and she's going to try to run that pace conservatively and then maybe pick it up. And that's the best way to do it. What Tessa's referring to is essentially called negative splitting, where you run a certain pace for maybe the first half of the race or 20 miles or what have you, and then the second half you leave enough energy and time that you could actually kind of pick up the pace. And that's the best way to run, more efficient, that or even splitting versus the opposite, which Tessa won't be doing, a positive split, which means you're just going out, kind of holding on as hard as you can, and then you get to the halfway point in, let's say, 2 hours, and then your second half, you're running in 2:05 or slower, so you're running the second half slower.
Yeah, very good. And 3:30, go for it. Go out there and get it. I'm rooting for you. We'll be out there.
You'll have the footwear and the gear, so
I will. New Balance is taking very good care of me. So.
Oh, there you go. Make it work. But very good. And again, that's very important information to come in. That of course you become one. And then in Brooklyn, in this area here, I'm going to circle it. This area doesn't get much love in our core strategy, and I really wish it did, because this is a very unique area. I'm just going to give a shout out. My first time I ran New York in 2014, I came through here. And you come through Fort Greene, and the streets kind of will narrow off a little bit. And I remember hearing some singing in the distance, and I was like, God, what is going on? What is that? A church choir had come outside on their church steps and were singing to you. So again, this course is so unique because you're going through so many different areas of the 5 boroughs. You get to a flavor and a taste of each one of them. So there's always around another corner, another bend, something to take your mind off of where you are, what you're doing. And again, at this point of the race, you're still feeling good. It feels like a long run because, again, you're coming through the areas of Brooklyn. You come off 4th Avenue. You're going on Bedford. And then you come up on mile 13, which is the halfway point in terms of distance-wise, on the Pulaski Bridge as you exit Brooklyn and you head your way into Queens. Here you see our pace team is right up here up front. You said, gentlemen, here's your tour guide. That's what Tessa will be following if she so chooses to out there. They're looking good. They're making it look very easy. But again, at this point, everything should feel very comfortable. Everything should kind of be rolling through. Just feel like a long run as you come through. This bridge is not that bad to go up and over. You've exited Brooklyn. You've entered into Queens. You're feeling good. And then as you kind of rolling through, you're kind of just take stock, find out where you are. Check in with everything. The guy back here, he's checking his time. Let me go back here. I noticed this guy yesterday. He's checking in his time. He's saying where he is, saying, okay, if I've come through at 2:02, like as Roberto would just said, or 2:05, what's he aiming for on those next 13.1 miles? You still do have a ways to go, but make sure you take a moment and look across the bridge, because what do you see to your left, Roberto?
It looks like Manhattan.
You do look like Manhattan.
I'm not a geography major, but that looks like Manhattan.
That's impressive.
Yeah, so, and I believe even tomorrow the views will be even nicer because a lot of those buildings are finished. So, so take in the sights. Is the marathon is run across the city, across all 5 boroughs. So as Coach Ben just said, you have a bit of taste and flavor of different boroughs, different neighborhoods, but it's also important to also be in the moment. You want to look around, but you also want to be in the moment, because sometimes, you look around and you think, oh my God, this is so great, the crowd is carrying me, and before you know, it's like, I've been going 15 seconds per mile faster, and it's very, very easy to do that early on, and those seconds here and there that you kind of steal from yourself, you make up for it later on by kind of being like, oh man, like that split was 50, and it might seem like I'm harping on it because 15 seconds is just, it's 15 seconds, but it's the accumulation of time here and there. So you want to try to be efficient. Every now and then lose yourself in the crowd, but also just make sure that you are aware of your pace. and more importantly, your effort. Because if you go back to the previous slide on the bridge, you could see this bridge is not one that we talk about much other than it being the halfway point, but you can see from the very back of it, it's a long, gradual climb, so it's nothing steep. If you're running it fresh, you wouldn't really think about it, but at the halfway point, you are halfway through the marathon, and the second half is a lot tougher, but it's little inclines like this where you think, okay, I have to hold pace, I have to hold pace. So if you're holding pace running up this, which our pacers won't, they'll just go up an effort, you're actually working harder. So if I'm trying to run 9:09 and I'm running 9:09 up that long incline, not terribly steep but long, I'm actually putting in maybe an 8:50 effort, which you might not see on your watch because your watch is going to read 9:09. So be aware of continuing to run on even effort or pace. So if you're going up an incline, whether it seems high or long or not, make sure you focus on your effort. And obviously, on any of our bridges, they go up, they fine up, and they go down. So on the down part, keeping the same effort, things will even out.
Definitely. One thing I want to point out here, runners, this is a tracking area you're coming through at the halfway point. So make sure that you and your loved ones have downloaded the TCS New York City Marathon app. Have it on your phone, your Android. You can pick it up at any of your app stores, Apple or Android. They can track you, they can track Roberto, they can track Tessa. You will not be able to track me because I am not running, but I will be out there tracking all of them as well.
You can share your location.
Yeah, I'll give you a pin drop on where I'm at. You can watch me walk around Fort Wadsworth all Sunday morning helping out our pace team. But yeah, make sure you have the app on there because from a multitude of things, every 5K they'll be tracking them so you know where they are. It will also give them kind of a predicted finish based off their pace at that point. They are as a halfway point here at 13.1. There'll be a tracking mat at mile 20. And then also at the finish, which we'll touch on later on in the course strategy. But yeah, get the app. There's a lot of cool features in there. But more importantly, you get to track your loved ones, maybe see them a few times on course. But we have come into the halfway point, and we are going to take a pause, a breath. Yes, get into the Zen moment because you have come through, and that's how you want to do it on race day, folks. Just kind of take a Zen moment, take it all in before you head into Queens. And we're going to take some shout-outs and some questions. Find out where you are this morning. We have Gino from Naples. Good morning, Gino. Actually, it'd be good afternoon where he is at this point.
If it's Naples, Florida versus Naples, Italy, yeah.
Ramsey, that's the love, I'm guessing, the big love. There you go. Thank you, Ramsey. Gianna, this one definitely is from Italy, Gianna. Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for listening this morning. Jennifer from St. Michael's, Maryland. Thank you so much for tuning in. Dina from Port Dover, Ontario. We think it's cold. She's like, hold my parka. Hold my Molson. There we go. Yeah, a couple questions coming at us. Here we go. What do we got here? We have Samantha. Do I still need to bring my vaccination card to the ferry and run with it during the race? No, you do not. You do not need to show your proof of vaccine. You only need to show that when you're going into the expo, if that's where you're going to be picking up your bib. So don't worry about the bracelet that you may have gotten. You do not need to wear that after you have left the expo. You can take that off. No need to bring that vaccine card with you on your race. Leave that at home. Leave that in your hotel room. Keep that in a safe place so you know where it is because you're probably going to need it for your return trip home. Next question. Lucia is asking, can you bring a sleeping bag to the start line? Is that allowed? It won't fit into the clear bag. Roberto?
I mean, it's allowed if you don't mind parting with it, but you won't, hopefully it's not your favorite sleeping bag, but yeah, you could bring within reason anything that you might need to stay warm, stay comfortable into the Athletes Village at Fort Wadsworth, but a lot of that stuff will most likely have to remain. So if it's a sleeping bag that you know ahead of time won't fit there, maybe make sure it's not your favorite one, maybe it's borrow one from Coach Ben, and then just leave it there. Yeah.
Does New Balance have a sleeping bag, the official finisher sleeping bag?
I wish.
You don't have that? Maybe for next year we can.
Next year, I think it's a good suggestion.
Marathon sleeping bag just has like arms and leg holes.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know about that, but I mean, for post race, I would feel pretty good.
Well, if you have run our marathon before, you have the finisher poncho, which you would get at the finish line this year. That actually serves really well. It rolls up fairly well. It might fit in your bag. If not, it's an awesome item. You don't want to get rid of it, but you could bring it, use it, leave it there. It'll be donated, and then you get a fresh new one at the finish. So that's another option. And it's not quite a sleeping bag, but it keeps you warm. You can sit on it, especially if the ground is cold and a bit hard, as it may be that early in the morning.
Definitely, it's a good point. You're going to be on Fort Wadsworth for a couple of hours when you're out there. So bringing something to sit on, something to keep yourself warm. Roberto has joked about getting the sweatpants. We've all done that. But yeah, if you have an extra jacket,
I'm not joking. I need it.
I need it too.
We all need it. Make sure you have all that stuff out there because you're going to be there. Have something to sit on. Bring a book or a magazine to kind of pass the time. And there are obviously other runners out there. You're all feeling nervous. You may make some new friends. Talk away. Talk about your strategy. Talk about where you're from. But pass the time away. Find a quiet place to sit down. If you have something to sit on, it definitely is helpful. because again, you're going to be there for a few hours, but again, that's what you want. You don't want to be racing around. If you do need to find any food or drinks, Dunkin' will be out there, so you'll be able to get some coffee. There'll be some water out there as well, bananas, bagels, yeah, coffee. Yes, I know my coffee is waiting for me after the show over there. I can't wait to have more of that, but yeah, definitely on race day, if you keep yourself warm, have it out there. But I think we're going to go ahead. Do we have more questions, John? Well, we have more questions coming in. Here we go. Jennifer, do the aid stations include bathrooms? The answer is yes. You can definitely pull off if nature does call and you can no longer put her on hold. Definitely jump in, use the restroom. And on Fort Wadsworth, we do have plenty of restrooms for you as well. We have restrooms for $55,000. On Fort Wadsworth, there's only about $32,000 maybe this year, so maybe you'll win the lottery and find the bathroom that hasn't been used yet, and you can have a nice clean bathroom prior to the race. And we're heading back over to course strategy now. Roberto, we have left the Pulaski Bridge, and now we have made our way over into Queens to arguably, for some people, their favorite part of the race. I don't think everybody would agree with this one, but if I can get there we go. It's waking up, as am I still. Where have we come, Roberto?
Well, to the Queensborough Bridge, so, we're across the Pulaski Bridge into Long Island, or Queens, Long Island City, so that's our third borough of the day. We're not there terribly long, but again, the crowds really show up and support you, but then we get into entering the Queensborough Bridge, which would bring us to our fourth borough of the day, which is Manhattan, but we're only there for a little bit. But yeah, so as Coach Ben said, for a lot of people, this is not their favorite part. For me, I don't want to say I'm ambivalent. I both like it and dislike it. I love it, or I like it because it's the only part of the course that truly spectator-free. You can't see anybody other than your fellow runners. It's quiet just like that. All you hear is just a pitter-patter of shoes. Breathing, hopefully nobody crying because they've gone out too fast. But, Tessa won't be one of them. But, it's a great point because you finally get to kind of be with your thoughts, as I mentioned earlier, take stock, kind of reflect on your why you're running. But it's also challenging because it's a very long incline. This does not do it justice. So I know that I personally, no matter how good I feel, I'm always just like fearful or respectful of this section. And then on top of that, it's also at a funny place of the course where you're well beyond halfway. You're on miles 15 to 16 here, or about 25K for our international audience, but you're too far away from the finish line, so you can't kind of start dreaming of crossing that line yet, and you're so far away from the start line, you're just in this sort of limbo, and even if you're pacing really well, I think it's important to say, like, it's okay to feel fatigue or to feel, a little bit of muscle cramping or whatnot, because you are 15, 16 miles into the race, which for most people, this is closing in on the longest they've gone. Most people go 18 to 20 or 18 to 22 miles. So you're starting to creep into that, but you're obviously running it at goal race pace. So just make sure that you run nice and easy, nice and effort on this. Our pacers will be doing it because it's a long climb, and year in and year out when I'm pacing people, they're running up it, and they kind of start to take off because they do genuinely see their pace slipping, and that will happen. And I think that's okay because you can make up for it on the backside of the Queensborough Bridge, which I'll let Ben talk about. But you just want to make sure that as you're running up this, you just focus on your effort and take a moment to even maybe slow down a little bit, because if you slow down versus try to push and fight the incline, you're going to work a lot harder and you're only going to fatigue yourself, and you're never going to get that energy back no matter how hard you try, because the marathon is there to test you, and you have to just be able to test it back and answer that test accordingly.
Yeah, I failed that test a few times. But
a lot of people have, but once again, not too hard, but I'm talking to you out there, your first-time marathoners, people doing New York, but I'm also talking to us over here, So yeah, when you get there tomorrow, you can think of me and just be like, okay, this is what you were talking about, because it is a long climb. I mean, it just feels like you're just there forever, and you almost have like sensory deprivation because you're in this tunnel and you don't really hear anything else, but pretty soon you will hear everything. It'll more than make up for the solitude that you just felt.
Yeah, it's right there on the course map right there, the 125 at Point. It's about a mile up, a mile down. But the beauty part is, Roberto had talked about, when you come off that bridge, when you are coming down the other side, you enter back into Manhattan, into arguably probably the loudest part. Well, I will go with the Bronx, the loudest part, but we'll get that in a second.
It's different loud.
It's a different kind of loud. Welcome to First Avenue. Welcome to Manhattan. Welcome to the shot of energy that you have been waiting for. This is an incredible, you make about a 270-degree turn off the bridge. You'll see some hay bales as you come down because our wheelchair pro athletes and the AWE come flying down the backside of the Queensborough Bridge. Those hay bales are for them. It could be for you depending on how that your legs are rolling you through. But you will hear cowbells, you will hear cheering, you will hear air horns, you will hear everything. You will get a shot of adrenaline that you need. But it is so important. Again, Roberto talks about keeping your effort going up. This is where about keeping your effort low as you hit a flat section with a slight incline. The picture here, you see it as you go up First Avenue. It is a slight incline as you go up. But as you come off right in the 50s and the 60s of First Avenue, the crowds are 6, 7, 8 deep. They are cheering you on, and it is not easy to find, or not very hard to find yourself going 30 seconds, a minute. We've had coaches before say their runners, all of a sudden, they're just flying up First Avenue. You're at mile 16, you've got 10 miles to go. Bank does not equal bonk. Do not try to get some mileage in here. You want to back it off. You want to chill out. You want to clear it out. You've got, we talked about the aid stations earlier. Again, you see them down here on both sides. This is where you want to be getting in your fuel, checking it all out, but settle in because you've got about 3 miles, 3.5 miles on First Avenue as you make your way up. It is a slight incline as you see there, so really dial in. This is kind of where the race is getting almost on, but not quite. You're going to feel it for sure when you're out there. So check it all out. But again, usually, and then also on First Avenue, as well as mile 12 back in Brooklyn and mile 18, Honey Stinger will be out there with the Honey Stinger gels. There'll be about 4 different flavors to choose from. There will be one with caffeine, some without. So again, making sure nothing new on race day. If you've been training with Honey Stinger, congratulations, grab a few. If you haven't been, maybe grab one for later in the race if you need that last little adrenaline shot to get you through, because we'll be going up Fifth Avenue shortly. But after we have gone up First Avenue, we have entered into the best borough. Oh, come on, Roberto.
I mean, that's what you say. I don't have borough.
It's more like a question.
Yeah.
Like, bring up borough love here.
Am I Ron Burgundy? Yeah. I mean, for me, I lived in the Upper West Side, so I'm a Manhattanite, if that's what it's called. But I actually love every borough for this course because you just get different flavors. As I said, of New York is a melting pot, eclectic. But yeah, Bronx definitely shows up, and I'm saying that so if you're from the Bronx, don't let us down this year. But yeah, this year you'll have, as we have every year, our great coaches from group training. They have these bright neon jackets around mile 21, and as you're actually about to leave the Bronx. So yeah, it's a great support there. New Balance in the past has had some great activations. I believe Connor was talking about on day one. Him and his mustache were here, and they were just going on about it. So yeah, it's just awesome. But one thing about entering the Bronx, I feel like you do get a little bit of a rude welcoming because of this bridge. This bridge right here, the Willis Avenue Bridge. It's not very long. As I've said all week, Coach Ben and I ran it last Sunday. We ran the last 8 of the course. It's not very long and it's not very steep, but it's at an interesting point of the course where you're 19.5 or so miles in. You're about to hit mile 20. And it's, yeah, you can show it love. I showed respect. I bow a little bit, but, this is the part of the bridge where a few years ago we had the hilarious comedian Kevin Hart run with us. And I told him beforehand, like, hey, pace yourself, et cetera, et cetera. He had his whole team. He did whatever he wanted. He blasted the whole course. When he was so far ahead. When we got here, my team and I that we're running with, we got here and he was actually pulled over. There's like a big divider there, and he was just, it looked like he was doing his whole stand-up comedy. He was just like, oh, my legs, oh, my back. Like he was done, and that was because this bridge here will demand a lot of you because you're about almost 20 miles in. It's a relatively steep climb, but it's short. But again, at this point in the race, and I don't want to, strike fear in Tessa. She's getting a little nervous. But it's like at this point in the course, and you'll see it later on as well, any kind of incline, whether it's significant or not, you're going to feel that much more. So that's why you want to be mindful of the bridges. But even if you don't know, because you can't remember the name of the bridge or how long it is or where it is, you just know that the marathon is 26.2 miles. So your early miles should feel like more of a warm-up for the latter miles. A lot of people have said, treat the marathon, I think Connor said it as well, treat the marathon like a 20-mile run and a 10K race, something like that. So we're going into the Bronx. Be happy. I think it was Steve yesterday pointed out that guy on the far blue there.
It was this guy over here.
Yeah, like don't
be.
Yeah,
I have been him.
Yeah, we can say don't be like him because you can't really identify him. You can't see his bit, but like he's got 10 plus K to go. He's having a day. Whereas this lady in the center, good form, both feet off the ground, looking up. So chances are one of them had a better race than the other. I'll let you decide at home who you think that might have been. But yeah, you're entering the Bronx. Enjoy, because again, you're only there for about a mile or so, but they will show you love, they will show you energy, and they know that you're 20 miles into the race. You need that.
You definitely do. And then this guy here, he's really showing how we should feel.
He is not the other guy.
He is not the other guy. He is feeling everything. I think the word you used yesterday, Roberto, was awesomeness. I think he has harnessed every bit of awesomeness.
It's a new word, yeah.
He could possibly have harnessed that day to go out and test it. I want you feeling like that.
I want his race
Yeah,
fuel.
exactly.
Whatever it is, or whatever he's fueling on, I want it.
You want everything. Well, if you
fueling
I
on
will
love.
take something new on race day if I can be like that guy.
Exactly. Remember, this is the marathon. This is not the 5K marathon some of you have heard about. This is the marathon that, as Roberto said, 26.2 miles that we have to get through. But yeah, you are in Bronx, very short amount of time. The coaches will be up there, but yeah, you'll be coming through. This is where, this really is the halfway point, you know, from your body standpoint. This is the wall that everybody has heard about. You'll be coming back in, but then you will cross, you'll go across the Willis Avenue Bridge, you'll go into the Bronx, then you will exit out on the Madison Avenue Bridge at mile 21, as you see right here, and you will be back into Manhattan. And then I'm going to point out a little bit of a park right here. This little guy right here, Marcus Garvey Park, a gorgeous park, a beautiful park, but it is not Central Park. A lot of runners are coming off of Madison Avenue Bridge onto 5th Avenue. They see a park. Their first thought is, Central Park. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. This is Marcus Garvey Park. It is a beautiful park, but you do have to make a right-hand turn, a couple of lefts, and a right around it to get back onto 5th Avenue. But don't worry, it's a quick jaunt around. It is a gorgeous park. Enjoy it, because now you're back on 5th Avenue as you approach your final few miles, and probably the worst placed hill outside of the Heartbreak Hills in Boston of any marathon course that I have been a part of. But again, if you've done everything well, this will not be an easy part. As Roberto alluded to, you have a lot of miles in your legs, but you will be climbing up from mile 23 to 24. I'll circle it right here on the screen. You can kind of see that's the climb. It doesn't look like a whole lot, especially as you look back here at what you've already done, the Verrazano, the Queensborough. This is not the steepest climb on the course by any stretch, but it is at mile 23. It goes from 110th Street to 90th Street, and is just enough to remind you that, yes, you have put in 23 miles before you get there. But again, as you make your way up, we've already gone to this one. So this is the area through the Bronx through here. I've touched on that. And we're going through, go back home. Mile 25 here. Roberto, this is what awaits the runners as they approach Engineers Gate, East 90th Street. Walk us through where we are.
Yeah, I mean, walk us through is right, because it's not uncommon to see people walking up this. Every year I run it tomorrow, and when I pace people, I have so much respect for this part of the course that I feel like this is not my finish line, but if I could get up this hill feeling good and enter in the park feeling good, then the rest of the race is gravy, because the rest of the race with 2 miles or so to go, you're running on heart, you're running, on pure emotion. You're still pacing and taking stock of where you are, but you're so close to the finish line that there isn't much finessing. You're just like, do I have it or not? Have I made it to this point on survival mode, or have I made it a little bit conservative and I could kind of attack? So Connor, again, your colleague, mentioned 2 days ago when he was here that he coached his sister, I can't remember, 2018 or something, and she made up so much time in these last 2-3 miles of the course because she paced herself really well. So you want to be like Connor's sister, pace yourself really well, respect this hill, because it will test you. It would test you regardless, because you're 22, 23 miles into the marathon, but the fact that you're being tested on a long incline, is something really to be aware of, and you should be aware of this. I think about this spot at mile 2. I think about this spot at I'm deep in Brooklyn, and I'm thinking about cool, Brooklyn, yeah, Long Island, whatever, but I'm like, 5th Avenue, if I can make it up this, I'm great, because once you do this, you enter Central Park, beautiful park for those of you who are not from the area. And you sometimes hear about the hills of Central Park. It is a hilly park. A lot of our races occur there, but they're run in the opposite direction. Here you turn left, turn right into the park and make an immediate left on the East Drive, and it's a long, long gradual straightaway, gradual downhill, and then you go relatively steep downhill called Cat Hill, which is famous for a lot of workouts people do, 400 meters uphill. A lot of our races go up it, but you'll be going down. So the one thing is, lean into it, stand tall, but also, be mindful of not trying to push too hard, because I know I did that one year trying to chase one of my athletes down, and I realized that they started to cramp up because you're pushing downhill and it's a lot of pounding on tired legs. So just lean into it, and again, remember, you have a long straightaway of flat and gradual downhill once you've entered the park, and then the race finishes in Central Park, and you just got into Central Park, so you're like, okay, I'm really close to home. You are, but unfortunately, you actually have to exit the park before entering. So this is where you exit around Central Park South.
Definitely, and as you said, you're in the park, you're out of the park, and it's kind of like a jaunt, but again, you're on Central Park South, you are in the home stretch. This is the view you have as you head back, as you exit the park, going back up Central Park South. This is the exact view that you have. There's a little statue right here as you make your way towards Columbus Circle. Yeah, as talked about yesterday with Coach Steve, he said throw that lasso around that statue up there and just pull yourself up this hill. Again, it is a slight incline. We don't want anything easy or easy at the finish, so we give you a couple of little kickers at the finish. Remind you that welcome to 26.2 miles, but you will make a right-hand turn into Central Park. You'll have about 400 meters to go, and then you will look, well, somewhat like this, not quite like it, but this is your finish line. This is from 2019 as we go through. Pardon me for hitting the wrong buttons again. I'm sorry. My coffee is not kicking in just yet, but this is the finishes of 2019. Hopefully you feel and look like this. The iPad is feeling the same pain that I am this morning. And go. Wow, this is like a moment in time. There we go, frozen, there we go. As you cross the finish line, watch the arms go up. Obviously, the pros are breaking the tape. You may not break the tape, but you definitely want to get those arms high in the air. We have these new inventions called timing mats that will track your time as you get through. They will get your time. Get a few steps past that before you look down and stop your watch and post it on Strava. A couple seconds here or there on Strava is not going to kill you. We have your official time, but definitely watch that one more time because you want to get those arms nice and high. Practice that finish line. Test it right there. See the arms, they go up just like that. You want to look just like that. Okay. We'll make sure we have tape out for you also when you go through. I'll make sure Roberto comes back and has the tape for you.
Comes back. That's assuming I finish in front of Tessa.
If you finish before him, make that tape for him. Okay.
Yeah, maybe you'll have to hold something for me. But yeah, one thing that Coach Ben has talked about, this is a wonderful finish line. And as much as I love these videos, what I really like and what really shows, this is it. This showcases what we're all talking about. Like, it's a celebration of running. Running is back. It never really went away, but obviously we've been away for almost 2 years. 2020 was approximately 2 years long. This year's been fairly long as well. So we're really excited to have everybody back in the city, our friends from overseas, friends from out of state, friends from New Balance. So when you're crossing the finish line, this is a culmination of weeks and years of training, and there's 30,000+ stories. So this is what you want to see, people crossing the finish line, arms in the air. You will be tired. That's okay, because you follow the course strategy and the plan that we set out, but you're still human. You've given it your all. You're actually climbing up about 200 meters worth of incline towards the finish. So, but again, at this point, you've run on love, you've run on energy, you've run on empty, Jackson Brown. You just run on everything you can. You cross that finish line, raise your hands. Our producer loves that reference. My kids at home are tired of hearing me sing that song. But yeah, so cross that finish line, get that awesome photo, then click your watch, and then congratulations, you just finished the race, but we kick off the 27th mile.
Yeah, mile 27 as we like to call it.
I'm not sure if Tessa's heard this, so she's like, yeah, the race does not have 27 miles, of course.
If the race is not over, welcome to mile 27. Welcome to the walk-off. As you cross the finish line, you will be handed your medal by one of our volunteers along with a recovery bag presented by the Hospital for Special Surgery. In that bag, we'll have Gatorade, Poland Springs water, Honey Stinger waffle or protein bar, pretzels, an apple. This is your fueling. This is your recovery that you need after you're done, because recovery starts the second you are done, and you're going to need it. You may not feel like eating or drinking, but definitely try to get a little bit of food in, a little bit of water, even just sipping on that water, sipping on the Gatorade, but more importantly, keep moving. Every ounce of your body will want to stop and sit down. Just try to walk. Keep moving a little bit. Obviously, there are medical tents. If you do need medical attention for anything, definitely get in there. If you're aching, you're cramping, you need to lay down, try to find a medical tent. There will be medical personnel out there that will be keeping eyes on you. They'll probably notice you before you notice them. But again, if you are feeling somewhat okay, hopefully you can still move forward, keep walking. Definitely keep going, because you have entered mile 27. You'll have your post-race recovery bag. Every runner will be getting the poncho that Roberto alluded to earlier here. He's feeling good, he's feeling warm. If you have done pre-race bag check, you will be getting that as well. All the runners will be exiting the park on 72nd Street. There is a timing mat there as well, so that way your loved ones who have been tracking you on the app not only know when you cross the finish line, now they know when you actually have exited Central Park onto Central Park South, or West, excuse me, as you make your way down, so they know when you've left, so they can anticipate your arrival hopefully soon at your predetermined meetup spot. And then again, this guy here really exemplifies the feeling that hopefully the two of you have.
That's actually me.
Is that? Wow, my God.
Yeah. Actually, the marathon is transformative. But yeah, thank you very much. But yeah,
we're here all day.
Yeah, actually, yeah, we'll be here all day.
Yeah.
But one thing that we touched upon early on, and lastly, just make sure that you and or your loved ones download the app. They'll track you. And it'll just let you know how they're doing throughout the day, because it's really important. I'm out there running kind of by myself, and Tessa's out there running by herself, but we didn't get here alone. There's friends, family, loved ones, and fans out there that want to track you, so they'll be able to kind of follow you along and see where you are. And then on the app, the cool thing too, especially for out-of-towners, I was speaking to a few people yesterday at the expo, there is like a subway map where it shows you like, hey, if you want to go out to First Avenue, how to get there, if you want to be in Brooklyn, because there are a lot of great viewpoints, and there are some people who I'm going to just stay in Brooklyn, I'm going to watch all the runners, and some people who make their own little mini marathon where I'm going to be in Brooklyn, early Brooklyn, late Brooklyn, then I'm going to go up to Manhattan on First Avenue, and then I'm going to try to get somewhere along Central Park South. So I have seen at least a couple people in the past just bouncing around, just making it on their own marathon. But yeah, this is the frozen zone that Coach Van was talking about in blue. So that's where it's only the finishes, it's only the areas. But then after the runners exit on West 72nd, that's where they can make plans to meet their loved ones, because sometimes there's cell phone saturation. There's 30,000+ finishers, and then there's even more people around celebrating, watching the marathon. So on top of that, oftentimes you've had a very, very long day on your phone. When you're in the athletes village, obviously when you're running, whether you're using it as a GPS device, or sometimes just the fact that it's a little bit chilly, as it will be tomorrow, that zaps your cell phone battery. So just make plans that aren't 100% relying on you crossing the finish line and saying, hey, mom, dad, where are you? I just finished, I'm tired, come pick me up. Make a plan to meet at this location around this time, and since they're tracking you, they'll know when you've crossed that finish line and then gone through the finishing zone.
Jesse, you feeling good?
Yeah.
All the strategy you needed, right? You're going to crush 100%. This?
Oh, for sure.
You got this.
Positive mindset. Remember we talked about Meb. You got to be like Meb. So
yes.
Keep it positive. We'll be good.
And which shoes are you wearing tomorrow? Because you obviously have your choice of many shoes.
Oh, I'm wearing the RC Elites for
sure. The New York branded ones?
I don't have the New York branded ones. I have the all white ones, and they
Okay.
got some red details on them. I did want to dress rehearsal them, so I've had those a while, and they're very fresh and fun.
Okay.
So.
Because I was about to say, if you're going to wear them and you're a size 11 men's, maybe I might order them. I don't know. Nothing you and Razor, but because, Connor was here the other day, and Connor's the opposite. He wears size 14. And I was like, okay, I can't steal your shoes. So I was like, maybe I could steal Tessa's, but I'll just have to go out and find my own size 11.
I felt like New York natives need to have those shoes,
Yeah.
I'm not from New York. I was like, the New Yorkers need to have it. And that's mostly people who picked them up. So
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, you deserve this shoe.
Although, you know what? It's also great to have those shoes and see them in Naples, Florida, or in Ontario. So that's a cool thing, because New York, it's here, but it's such a global city, and it's loved, and it's spread around the country and the world. So yeah, pick up those shoes, and I'll see if I could get my hands on some.
If you have an extra pair, throw to Roberto. But if you fall asleep in the
Size
athletes
11.
village, but if you fall asleep in the athletes village, make sure if they're out there, keep the ruby slippers close, because he may swipe by and give you his ones, and he'll give you his and take yours.
It just seems like everybody on earth wears size 11. So like when I go to the shops, like, sorry, sold out. I'm like the perfect half average size of everything, clothing size, yeah. But.
Well, I know we have a bunch more shouts coming through. We have lots of runners out there feeling good today. Debbie, first New York City from Chicago. I love our first time New York City marathoners. There you go, Roberto.
All right, guten Tag. Wir haben Stefan von Deutschland. We have Stefan from Germany. Oh, we got somebody from Joburg in South Africa. Wow, Wandi Sile. All right, I used to live down there as well, so love South Africa, yeah.
Joe from Rhode Island, I'm assuming. I know.
Yeah. I've driven through Rhode Island. I'll count that.
Ed from Berwick, PA, 3 times finisher. Hopefully you have a 4th in your wheelhouse in the future if you're still running marathons out there. Orida from Gogo Yassine. Not sure where.
Even I'm stumped on that,
Okay.
yeah. Oh, no, she's cheering for Yassine. Okay,
yeah.
I was like, I've been all over the world, but I've not been there yet. Which,
oh, you're like Lisa Stansfield? You've been around the world? And you found your baby? Or?
I am not Pitbull Mr. Worldwide, apparently, if I don't know where
Every musical
Yassine
reference we can find today here on the show. We have some questions coming in. We'll kill you with the musical reference. We'll do Shazam later. Debbie, is Gatorade always first and water always second? The answer is yes. At the aid stations, look for those green cups first. Those white cups will be second on those stations. The pacers will point them out there, and there's plenty of tables, so don't worry about going to the first one, Debbie.
Yeah, and one thing I will say, our volunteers, shout out to them. They're awesome. We couldn't do this without them. Oftentimes, at our smaller races, our big events, even the marathon, they will call it out as well because they understand that you're coming through and a cup looks like a cup to anybody and you're tired. So oftentimes they'll say, Gatorade, Gatorade, and that way, you know, sometimes I just wave it off because I know I want water, and they pull it back, but they'll sometimes just hold it on their hand or hold it out so you could grab it. So
it also really helps to point at them. If you see,
Yeah.
make the contact and point, because that reserves that water cup for you.
there you go. Look at this,
That's the pro tip
Yeah.
right there.
Although that reserves it till somebody comes around like yoink, because that also happens. So they
like apologize.
Yeah, they're not playing
It's not
fair.
your
Like
fault.
Tessa will be like this, and they'll be like, yes, Tessa, and then his homeboy will come by. And be like,
Roberto will go by.
That-
Thank you.
That arm extension out also creates a barrier.
Yeah,
Nobody
yeah,
can come
like,
swoop
get out!
by you.
I want the water. But that's why it's about a block long.
Brutal
So
out
yeah,
here.
it is New York, you know.
That's how we roll here. So other questions coming at us. Thank you so much, runners. We have Carl, first marathon during training. I didn't have any water at every other mile. Should I try to drink at every station? Or only when I feel I need to?
I would say, Carl, and maybe you could follow up in a few minutes, but like how long was your longest run and under what conditions did you run? And also how much of marathon pace did you touch? Because a long run is a long run by definition, but 16 miles or 15 miles is physiologically different than 20 miles. So you might have been getting to, let's say, 15, 16 miles. I'm obviously making it up. Feeling like you could drink or you're thirsty, but you're just done, so that's fine. But those next 4 miles are really crucial, and then obviously even longer than that to the marathon finish. And again, if you're running in warmer climates or humid climates, you would have probably been sweating more versus if you're running in cooler climates like we'll be experiencing tomorrow. But I would say, in general, don't change things up too much, but plan that you are running the marathon and you don't want to wait until you're thirsty or you feel hungry to eat or drink in a marathon, because at that point it's a little bit too late. You know, it's almost like trying to fill up your car with gasoline when it's on empty. At that point, like, it's exhausted already, so like you're kind of refilling just to make up for lost time, except for you're not a car, you're a human being, I'm assuming. So as you run, you know, you want to be fueling proactively, thinking ahead. So one thing I always tell runners is go by minutes versus miles. Obviously, each aid station is going to come mile in and mile out, but if you carry some hydration, some nutrition with you, you could say every 30 minutes I'm going to drink, or every 30 minutes I'm going to take a gel, and that way you continue on that sort of schedule the whole way.
Spot on, Roberto. Next question coming at us. Eileen, what's the lowest pace that's allowed before the bus gets you?
Yeah.
I think it'd be about 6.5 or so hours after the last starter has crossed the start line in Fort Wadsworth. There will be, you know, clock is not on necessarily, but that's around the 6.5 or 7 hour range. Central Park South has to be open by 7:30, John? Yeah, it says 7:30 p.m. Central Park South. That last little bit around 25 as you come out will be opened up, so you have, you know, plenty of time to get through the course there. If for any reason, you know, the bus does come in your area, you will be given instructions to move over onto the sidewalks at that point. But do not finish, or do not fear, or do not finish. Sorry. Whoo.
What advice is
Freudian
that?
slip right there, ladies and gentlemen. That's horrible advice, by the way, for anybody out there. No, do finish. Our finish line will remain open well into the evening hours. The nighttime finish is an amazing time. We'll have some of our pro athletes come back out there to cheer you all on, even hand you your medal as you come through. So don't worry, our finish line does remain open well after that time frame. We want to cheer you on, cheer everybody on as they come through. Everybody gets a medal, everybody gets a bag, everybody gets a poncho. So don't worry, we'll be out there waiting for you. Asking about the specs. Look at that.
Ooh.
Is that Glenn, our coach? Or?
He's actually at the expo. I saw he could be watching from the TFK booth. You never know.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I since I started running way back when, I've always been particularly sensitive about my eyes, and like I seem like my eyes always attract little bugs or whatever, and I can't stand that. So I usually wear sunglasses or something when I run or something like this. But then I find that every photo when I'm wearing sunnies, I just look like too serious or like a security guard. So I think I might, I don't know, we'll see, Glenn. I might let the world see my beautiful eyes for tomorrow, because it is the 50th, so I'll just stare into the camera and we'll run. We'll find out. Tune in tomorrow on ABC and watch for me and my beautiful eyes.
It's a song reference there. I just can't think of it right now.
Yeah.
There we
Peter
go.
Gabriel?
Yeah,
There you go.
in your eyes.
Yeah. I like to thank my sponsor, Peter Gabriel.
If you have any eye songs out there, give us a shout out. We'll listen to them later. Dante, Are picnic and beach folding chairs allowed in the Start Village? I think that would be a big negative Ghost Rider.
That is a lot of things to bring.
Bring a picnic basket, set up shop there, have some, a charcuterie platter out there. But no, unfortunately, chairs are not allowed into the Start Village. You are able to bring, a sleeping bag, any tarps or clear plastic that's smaller than 10 square feet. Cardboard always works well. Obviously, if you have extra layers you're sitting on, there will be straw. They do put straw out on the grass in Fort Wadsworth as well. There are curbs. There will be tents. The sides will be up, obviously, on those tents or those canopies out there. So find a place to sit down. You can lean up against a fence. I've done that a few times myself. Even in the corrals itself, you can sit on the curb. Also, inside the corrals, there are porta potties as well. So if you have to make one last pit stop inside the corrals, there will be chances for you to do that. But unfortunately, no folding chairs, no picnic baskets, and no Toto. So next question coming at us. Wandelitza from Joburg, can you still go back to the expo after picking up your race bib to buy apparel? I think as long as you have proof of vaccine and your confirmation card, you will be allowed to go back into the expo to pick up more gear. But don't forget, you can also go to the Run Hub at 320 West 57th Street. They also have a lot of the gear over there as well. And the pavilion at over by Tavern on the Green on Monday, Marathon Monday, will have tons of gear that Tessa has shown us. Is there anything exclusive to Marathon Monday over there? More the finishers gear up there at the pavilion that you're aware of?
Yeah, more finishers gear. Pretty much everything that we have left from the expo being brought over down to the public. So, if you have your eyes set on something, I really recommend going and getting it today.
Yeah.
There's no promises. I mean, we've already sold out of a few items, really hot items, but there's still tons of really good stuff. So yeah, definitely I'd recommend going sooner than later.
So if you have room,
shop the collection.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Tessa, on your screen.
Not sure how well it shows, but she's super decked out. Yeah. I'm glad that we were not the same size, otherwise we would have problems. Yeah.
So if you have room left on that credit card, please go back and shop some more stuff today. We have some more gear for you. Next question coming at us. Norman, is there Dunkin' at the start? Oh, you bet your bottom dollar there'll be Dunkin'. We have coffee. As Tess is very excited about.
Yes, we're a Boston brand. We love our Dunkin' Donuts.
So is it no longer called Dunkin' Donuts?
It is Dunkin'.
No.
Okay.
Dunkin', they changed the name. Yes, it's just
I must
Dunkin'.
have fallen asleep for about a year or two. But
well, 2020 is about 14 years long.
Yeah.
So
I like Dunkin' Donuts, but I guess I have to call it Dunkin'.
It is Dunkin' now. There will be coffee. There will be bagels. There will be cut up bananas as well. They're on all of the waves, so don't worry about it if you don't, if you're blue, green, or orange. There is all out there. There's also maybe a main hub as well. Plenty of spots. Grab what you need. Keep those fuel sources nice and topped off. Lorraine, does Dunkin' do gluten-free bagels? I'm not sure on that one. That's a good question. I mean, the best thing to do is maybe ask some people that are there if they are gluten-free. I know some people had some questions about gluten-free allergies with our with some of the stuff in the recovery bag. Yeah. Obviously, the apple for sure is gluten-free.
And the water.
Very good call, the water as well. If you're not sure, I know that Honey Stinger will have some stuff in there. We just recommend maybe go to the website for Honey Stinger. Check out. They do have vegan and different and nut-free. Yeah. Yeah, so again, if you're not sure at the start, again, nothing new on Heisei, I think, kind of plays into here. So again, especially with any kind of allergies you may have, in your Start Village bag, the clear one you picked up at the expo. If you're around here, maybe find a local convenience store or a health shop here that maybe have some food that you can use, or maybe you brought your own and just toss that in your Start Village bag to have to keep those energy levels nice and high. Roberto, want to go grab this one here for the transportation?
Sure. I'm taking the 645 bus for transportation. I took the ferry in 2019. Any helpful hints in terms of logistics? Yeah, I mean, if you've done it before, it's more or less the same. So 645, bank about 90 minutes from that time to getting into the village, because you take the ferry and then you take the bus. And
Which is on the bus today.
Huh?
She's on the bus for this year. She did the ferry in 2019.
Oh, God, did I read that wrong?
It's okay.
It wouldn't be the first time. So
let's not go there.
Can we pop that up? So they're taking the 29. Yeah. They're taking the bus.
You got the question back? Here we go. I'm taking the bus. There we go.
Okay.
I took the ferry in 19.
Yeah. So just get there on time. I would say 6:45 is when it's looking to take off. So try to get there maybe 10, 15 minutes beforehand, and then just settle in. It's a nice long ride, but I usually take the bus as well, and I just kind of find my seat next to the window, lean in, and sleep. And then once you get to Fort Wadsworth, you kind of wake up and you kind of slowly start your day, because it is a long day. You want to conserve your energy, get through security. But once you get through security, the whole fort, the Athletes Village is exciting, is buzzing. There's news reporters from around the world, other runners, etc. But I usually just try to lay low until I start my warm up.
spot on. Get that sleep on that bus if you can. Next question coming at us. Lorraine, I heard it mentioned a while ago about water station having a way to fill up the bottles. Is that still happening? Okay, to clarify, yeah, there will be a way to fill up. Basically, you have to grab the water cups. If you are having like your own handhelds or the waist belts, you have to grab as much water and dump it in there. At one point, there was a talk that maybe there will be like an actual jug to fill up your water. That will not be happening, unfortunately. So if you will be refilling your own stuff, just grab a couple of cups, dump it in there as quickly as you can. Make sure your cap is screwed back on tight, and away you go to the next water station. Robin, do the pacers pause for water? I've had this question a few times. It really depends on the pacer, and what I recommend if you're going to be running with a pacer and you find them in your corral, ask them what their strategy is. Talk to them. If you go to the expo today, a couple of the pacers will be there as well. Talk with them. Each pacer will have a different strategy. Obviously, sometimes at the quicker times, they will not. They'll point them out. They will be getting water themselves. Maybe some of as the waves go back a little bit, as the paces slow down. Those pacer strategy may be a bit different. So again, I recommend if you're going to the expo and a pacer is there that you want to talk to, if that pacer happens to be at a time that you're going to be running, talk to them about what their strategy is. But for sure, tomorrow in the corral, if the pacer is in that area, talk to them what their strategy is as they go through the water and the aid stations. That way you can plan accordingly for your race. Roberto, go ahead and grab this one.
Okay, we have from Andri. Just curious, are you going to do a post-run podcast? That's funny because somebody else yesterday was like, you guys are hilarious. You need to start your own podcast. And I was like, yeah, we'll call it Two Guys in a Chair. But then I was like, we have to include Ben or Steve. So no, we don't have plans for doing a podcast. I do plan on going on a comedy tour, catch my no, I'm kidding. But yeah, we do have our own in-house NYRR podcast that myself and my colleague Anik are on, produced by our producer John, who's off camera, and that's called Habitual Routine. Is really great. On this season we covered some of our 50 finishers. So I would say definitely check that out. Download it wherever you download podcasts. But if you're looking for like laugh out loud comedy like we have been kind of getting here, we'll have to talk to our producer and go in a different direction. But no post race podcast. But maybe give people what they want, John, off camera.
All right, Eric. He's picking up his runner. I was wondering how close I can get to the finish line with my car with all the road closed. Yeah, you're not going to be able to get very close to that frozen zone.
Not close.
Yeah, not close at all. I would really, again, plan that out. If your runner is going to be picking up. If you're familiar with the area, heading west, like head towards 9th Avenue, 10th Avenue, get kind of west of the finish line area for sure, because anything kind of close to the finish line is just going to be even the streets around it are barricaded off. Mm-hmm. Even south, you may have to get south of that, maybe south of 54th Street, 53rd Street, but anything east is going to be really difficult because obviously Central Park South will be closed until 7 p.m. So if you're planning to pick up your runner, plan to pick them up west, 59th Street out towards 9th, 10th Avenue, Hell's Kitchen area, pick them up over there. Have them sit down and then have them fun and get them out of the car when you get to your final location, because they'll be like the Tin Man.
Roll
with
the seats down.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Next question coming at us. Nikki or Nikhil, I live in New Jersey. Awesome. Would it make sense for me to take an Uber to the drop-off location instead of the ferry?
Obviously, it depends where in New Jersey you live and when you start the race and how early. Some people have spoken to us at the expo that they are going to be taking an Uber. So if you're doing that, you want to get across the Verrazano Bridge no later than really 6:30. That way you allow yourself to get into Fort Wadsworth and your Uber to get out of there, because they will be closing the bridge. But it's really kind of up to you. Just, again, as we said, avoid the race before the race. Know when your start time is, your wave, and kind of work backwards and give at least 90 minutes of travel time or time to get through into the athletes' village, because you will have to clear security. And you are just one person, but you are one of 30+ thousand. So, NYPD is going to be doing their best out there, clearing people through security. I understand that they're trying to get through, but you don't want to rush and get into the village stressed out, and now you only have 45 minutes because they do marshal you from the athletes village into your corresponding wave and color and out into the bridge. So you have to factor a lot of those things that a lot of us don't think about until we're right there in the moment.
Very good. And our final question, let's see what we have waiting for us here. Myru, I am staying in Staten Island, South Beach. I am in the orange wave starting at 10:40. How many hours should I be should I be there in the starting area? Again, you probably have on when you chose your transportation, your transportation choices were based off of your start time to allow for you for plenty of time to not only get your transportation, have your transportation get you to the start village, get in through security, into your area with plenty of time to spare to get some food, find where your corrals are, sit down, kind of relax, get yourself oriented, take a moment off your feet. So if you've already chosen your transportation, stay with that. But again, the rule of thumb is you want to give yourself at least a good couple of hours because the time does go fast. The corrals do open up, about an hour, hour and 10 minutes before your start time. They will close down. You don't want to have to be rushing around to find a porta potty, find some food, get into your corral. So once you chose your transportation, stick with it. Trust yourself, trust the training. Make it easy on yourself at this point. The sooner the better. It will be cold. Go get some warm clothes. Bring a blanket if you have that, something to sit down on. But yeah, take your time. No reason to race before the race. Nothing new on race day except some warm clothes to keep yourself before you go out there. But have a good race. And we have one more question. They're coming in, so we'll take another one from our listeners here. Ted, there is no 4-hour pacer in the 11:20 start. Do I have options? Yeah, I was looking at that yesterday, and that's a common question we get from our runners. Again, our pace team is dispersed amongst the corrals where they are. Unfortunately, if you cannot move up into the waves or into the corrals, so I won't say you're left to your own devices, but you will not be the only runner in your corral trying to go for a time and make some new friends out there. You will have your own crew, your own sightseeing tour to take on yourself. But yeah, you do have pace bands. If you want to go to the expo or to pick them up, you can have those. There are websites out there as well. You can maybe write down in your arm. Some people write down the different pace times. The 5K test is laughing. Are you doing that?
Oh, for sure.
You have 5K here, 10K here.
How detailed will you get? Every mile, or just
I also got to really think about my pen choice. I might be sweating. It'll be one black blob on my arm.
Sharpie's usually good, yeah.
A buddy of mine,
fine felt.
A buddy of mine, he actually wrote his kids' names for his first Boston on the sides of his arms, and he washed it off and he tattooed because it was so hot that day. He actually was branded.
But I mean, you can't see while you're running.
It was his kids' names on the sides, though. He had Ben and Jack on the sides. He was done.
Yeah.
He washed it off, and he had tattoos.
It's a smart idea.
He had branded himself.
I was going to try to put my name somewhere on my singlet.
That's another great idea. If you have a singlet from the front, because then people will shout you out, people give it going. So that's always a good way.
Yeah, I'm actually doing that for the first time ever tomorrow. Yeah, I took my
Steve?
Yeah. Put my name there. It's not Steve, but yeah, I'm actually gonna put my name, and hopefully I don't regret it, because maybe at some point after 20 miles, I'm I am tired of hearing my name. But I don't know. We'll see. It's a new thing for me. It's the 50th. I want to try. That's the only new thing I'm trying.
That's new on race day.
I mean, nobody's gonna recognize you without your glasses.
Yeah,
so it might be a good thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna wear a hat really well.
There. Yeah.
You're that guy from the bloopers.
Here we go. We have another question coming at us. Carlos, my wife is in the orange wave and I am in the green wave. Can they run together, Roberto?
You can run together. You have to just move up to whoever one of the two you has the higher corresponding number. So obviously look at your bib numbers and go according to that.
Very good. We had questions, John? We are good. Right. We're going to wrap it up. Tessa, thank you so much for joining us. Any last words for our runners out there to get ready with what they need?
Good luck to everybody. Have the proper gear. You've trained really hard, so I can't wait to see you out there. And please give me a shout out if you see me.
Definitely.
Yeah, 3:30 group. Look for her.
3:30 group. Roberto, any last words for our runners?
No, you're ready. Just enjoy. Run the day. Everybody has come here from different areas, backgrounds, and yeah, all you can do is really run the day. But just again, remember, no matter how good you feel in those early miles, you have to think about the latter miles. So a race of a tale of two runs, and just be mindful of that and enjoy, celebrate.
Yeah, I thought maybe you had a song recommendation on the way out the door, but I guess I will give a song recommendation. Queen, We Are the Champions. It is the 50th anniversary. Feel it out there. Get those arms up as you come through. We have one final shout out before we wrap up here. Who do? Oh, I'm sorry, the shout out the wrong way. I'm hearing things in my ear that I'm not hearing today. We have our final course strategies coming up today at 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. Eastern time. So if you have any final questions, any final shout outs, anything you want to know about the last little bit, any nerves, come join us again at noon and at 6 today. Hopefully we'll see you at the expo. Go pick up your New Balancers gear. Tessa, thank you so much for joining us again.
Thanks,
Roberto, thank you so much. Love the glasses, love the specs. John, Sam,
I've been wearing these all week. Why are there such a thing now?
They are a thing now. It's
right.
Saturday morning.
People are waking up like, he's wearing glasses.
The dash of the finish was if you ran the dash of the finish this morning. Congratulations. Great job out there. It was a stunning day. Props to you. Sam, John off camera, thank you so much for all your work. Runners, have a great day, and we'll see you at the start line.